Hi, Gail.
Hey!
Hey, man. Thank God it's Monday. Happy Monday. Man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to control myself. Gail, I'll have to text you my address. Like if we have to call 911, like let my wife know, anyway. Gail, happy Monday. What an absolute honor, privilege. I know Damon, you're not Damon. You have the beautiful red hair. So obviously Damon's not here today. Gail from Gail Now is filling in a seat for Damon Pistulka. Gail, happy Monday. How are you?
I am great. I was out. I did a Pilates class this morning. It's beautiful outside and I'm ready to rock and roll. And I'm super excited for this show because we're talking about marketing and manufacturing. Woohoo!
Now, Gail, before we introduce our amazing, incredible, esteemed guest today, man, I'm looking over your shoulder. Like I'm just so fired up. Can you what's going on behind you there?
Well, I had this made when I was at PT Expo, which is a plastic technology expo show in Chicago. And so one of the things I had there were the magnifying glass. People put their face in that. I always get a mirror. So people can put their face in that and I take photos and I can tag people. And so I decided, well, I now might as well use this as my backdrop because it also has my 3 points: sign up, suit up, show up, and let's get curious. We're going to do a new song for that. So and then I handed out little magnifying glasses, that people could put in their wallet. So,
absolutely brilliant. Hey, man, we lost our guest for a second.
Our guest.
She'll be back. She'll be right back. So, Gail, slide over to the other way so we can see the picture.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh, look at that. Look.
There we go. And I know I'm going to do a little sneak peek because this is also what I wore at the trade show. So I was on brand. Nice. Got my hat, and I know Hallie is a hat person too. So
she is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it was a really, it's while we're waiting for Hallie to come back. Here we are. Hello, Hallie.
Hey, in perfect timing, man. Our guest is back. So, Gail, thank you for joining us today. I know you're super busy. Appreciate you filling in, taking Damon's place today. So let's give a shout out and a big warm welcome to our dear, amazing, incredible guest, social media extraordinaire, Hallie Haupt. Hallie, happy Monday. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh man, if I was any better, I don't know what it wouldn't be good. We've got Ingor in the house. Ingor, happy Monday. Hope you had an amazing Easter yesterday. Diane, happy Monday to you. I know you and I are going to be connecting this week. And of course, my dear friend, beloved Bonnie's in the house today. So guys, happy Monday. Drop a note in the chat box. We're on YouTube Live today. We're on Twitter Live. We're on LinkedIn. And man, we're streaming live on my website today, B2Btail. That's how excited we are. Whitney's joining us here today. Whitney, happy Monday to you. Hope everybody had a magnificent holiday weekend. If you were celebrating and spring has sprung. So Hallie, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Like you are just all over the place on social media. We can't wait to hear about your secret sauce and how your superpowers and how you're digging in. But before we go there, I have a question for you. Gail, here's the question that I always love to ask. And so Hallie, are you sitting down? Are you sitting down for this one? Okay. All right. So my question, before we dig into you're just crushing on social media, you're getting into manufacturing, all these other fun things we're going to talk about. My first question for you, you're as a millennial, when you were a little girl growing up, who was your hero? Who was your hero as a little girl growing up?
Probably my dad.
Oh man, that's my favorite answer, being a girl dad myself. And Hallie, why? First, dad's name, please.
His name is Brian.
Brian, and why was dad your hero?
He was just you'd have to know him to know why, but he's just amazing. He is actually not my biological dad, but he adopted me when I was 7. Nice. So he really stepped into the role of being a parent and never treated me differently than my sister. He was just amazing, all around amazing. And he's a smart guy too. I learned so much from him. So he's definitely my hero.
Well, you made my day. And that's what I heard maybe if this resonates, I heard this I was with a group one time and a woman was describing, she had 2 fathers. She had her biological father and her adopted father. And she said, you know what? God gave me one father to put me on earth. The other father was here to love me. And I just thought that was such a beautiful phrase. And so if that resonates with you. So, hey, big shout out to Brian and for doing such an amazing job building and growing this wonderful person that we're with today. So let's go right into it, Hallie. So you are a manufacturing COVID baby. Do I have that correct?
You do.
Now, when I say that, please share with everybody how and why. What does that mean that you're a manufacturing COVID baby? What does that mean?
So I got into this industry mainly because of COVID. I've said this on a few different podcasts, but I was at a community college before COVID shut everything down. And I was just looking for some work. I had some acquaintances in the industry who were looking for some help with their small shop, and I just jumped right into it.
Nice, awesome. So, all right. So you're at a community college. Administration doing some different things there. COVID hits, and all of a sudden, like you're like, hey man, I'm going to bring my superpowers to manufacturing. Talk about like what were your thoughts? What were your expectations? What was your perception of manufacturing before you started that gig?
I didn't even know what it was, which is so weird because I live it every single day now, but I had no idea how intricate this industry was or the different sectors in the industry. I didn't know what we made or anything like that. And jumping into it, it was a little scary. I remember having like flashcards with like terms on it because I was like, I don't know what these mean. And I would like just study them and flip them over because I was really dedicated to learning it. And I made the jump to IQ in April of 2021, and they've helped me tremendously grow in this space and in this industry. So I couldn't thank them more for that.
Well, that's phenomenal. So happy anniversary, 2 years at IQ Manufacturing. Hey, we've got some wonderful people here joining. My buddy Jason Deering's here today. Bonnie and Ingor are dropping notes. Hey, we've got Brandon here today. So guys, again, drop a note. And what I encourage you, welcome you, invite you. You want to connect with my dear friend, Gail. Connect with Gail on LinkedIn. Check out her website, everything she has going on. You definitely, absolutely want to connect with Hallie here on LinkedIn and also check out her website, IQ Manufacturing. Speaking of IQ Manufacturing, Hallie, let's go there. So they have a fascinating story. What a great background. So this is like, a lot of manufacturers, Gail, that we encounter, third generation from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, what have you. These guys started in 2015 and they had like a little what's a bullfrog tennis training device? What is?
It was a patent that so our CEO and our COO created this tennis training device, and that's kind of where IQ came from. They started building this and really like taking that further, and then they realized that IQ the potential was way beyond that, and that's how the company started. Was just from that small training device.
Well, what a fascinating story. And so guys, if you check out IQ Manufacturing, check out the website, you'll read that it's a fascinating background. And they started in a pole barn. And just, I love, that's a great thing about manufacturing, Gail. Like we have all these guests and like, I started, we had somebody on a few weeks ago, they started out of a trunk. They started out of a garage. They started out, they didn't have a garage, so they started in their neighbor's garage. And so these guys, I think it was Chris and Kelly are the founders. Do I have that correct?
Yep.
And started in a pole barn. And now you guys are in a 30,000 square foot facility, right? I mean, can you just talk about like, kind of the history, background, and then we'll lead up to like you joining the team.
Yeah, so in 2015, they started in a 600 square feet corner of a pole barn.
That is awesome.
And a couple years after that, they were able to purchase a few more machines. They needed more room. They moved down the street from where we are now in a 3,000 square foot facility. And then in like a couple years after that, they moved here, and we've just been growing like crazy, adding new machines, adding new staff. It's insane. It's amazing to be a small part of the growth as well. So it's really cool to see that.
Well, that is awesome. So let's lead up to 2021. So you come on board, and I know, Gail, feel free to chime in because I know we're super excited to hit this part of the question here. So social media at IQ prior to Hallie, what did that look like?
They definitely had a bit of a social presence. Our CEO really took that over before I was here, and he was doing a lot of that when the company first started. But as they started ramping up and growing, that kind of stuff gets put on the back burner, especially when you're still a small team. So when I was brought on, we were really able to grow that and bring that up. And the CEO and the COO still help me with it too. So it's not like they're completely far away from that department, but they have someone here to help run that.
Right. And I know, Gail, you know, we've talked about this numerous times where, you know, clients that you've worked with, CEOs, like, you know, eagerly, desperately, they want to do it, but man, it's hard to find the time. It's hard to make it a priority. Gail, like, what are you seeing as far as like CEOs and
Yeah.
companies?
Well, I think what Holly, it's a really good example of why, you know, marketing is so important, right? Because sometimes owners and other people in the company can do some of the work, but maybe you could talk a little bit, Holly, about what are some of the things that you find have, since you've come on board, has helped make the biggest change? And I know often, I know part of the answer to this, but I'd like to hear it from you because coming in new, I mean, what takes the time too? Can you talk a little bit about that process for manufacturers out there listening, going, do I need to have someone in manufacturing?
Yes. No.
Yes, I agree.
But I think that realizing that it is a huge time commitment, like social media isn't just like a thing that you can just post and like shove it to the side. Like it is a time commitment. If you want to make content that people enjoy seeing, you have to dive into more areas of what marketing entails, like video and photos. So whereas our CEO had small times or a small amount of time to do that, and he was just posting like photos and stuff, where I come in and I'm able to alleviate those duties from him and be like, hey, let's do this instead. And I'm the one who does it and then posts it and gets, you know, all that stuff up there. So it's definitely a time commitment. And if you are the owner of a business, I definitely recommend getting someone on board to help you with it, because it's a lot to do by yourself.
Yeah, I love it. And what's great, what you just said was just perfect. What can I pull off your plate? Like, so you're the executor in a good kind of way, not the bad kind of way.
Right.
You're the executor of social media. So you've got the subject matter experts. You've got Kelly, Brian, rest of your team. I believe you're over 20 strong now, which is just such an inspirational story, going from, you know, from 0 in 2015 to 30,000 square feet. And what you guys are doing today is just nothing short of just miraculous. Just what an inspiration. That's why we love manufacturing. But what's great is that they had the wherewithal, the understanding, like, I can't do this alone, and so let's pull in some help. Talk a little bit about like their commitment to hiring somebody on and getting you on board to do these tasks. You know, because it's a lot of manufacturers. Not only do they not make it a priority, it's not going to be a priority for the company. But just talk about like how, from a leadership standpoint, on how they really bought into social media and why they see the value in it. Is she?
Nope.
Oh, did she freeze?
Frozen on us. Yep.
Well, it's frozen. Gail, how about?
Okay, I'll jump in here.
I knew you jump in.
Well, what I've experienced, I know, and until Holly can give her perspective. I think it's a matter of, you know, it is a matter of commitment. So you first have to decide that, you know, you want to grow. And you know, I talk a lot about curiosity, and I know in manufacturing, I mean, manufacturing is all about innovation, right? So this company, I'm not surprised that they started out, you know, the way they did, and then realized that if they were going to continue to grow, they needed to bring in that manufacturing or the marketing aspect. So this really is a great story of, you know, don't be the best kept secret as well, Curt, right? Because a lot of times companies just, yeah, they get excited. And when Holly comes back, I'd like to ask her about, you know, what some of her insights around what she's learned, because when you bring in someone that doesn't have necessarily a manufacturing background, much like what I bring to the table as well, is that you learn a lot, and then you realize, okay, because when you're too close to a story, you can't see the value of. And I think, listen, Holly, obviously she's excited about this story, and then that carries over to the work she's doing. So
I love that. And actually, I know you're a huge biker. I was thinking of you. I went away a little trip with my
cyclist.
family.
Let's get that.
You're a cyclist. Like, yeah, good point. Not a biker. She's not on her Harley.
Although I could be a biker. I think.
You could be a biker, right? But I know you're an avid cyclist. So I was away with my family last week and riding a bike, and this guy had a fascinating business. It's a mobile bike. Like he shows up at your place with a bike. He drops it off and leaves it. And this guy was so fascinating. What he shared to me, he goes, you know what? He goes, it's all about customer service and human behavior. He goes, the fact that I'm running bikes is basically secondary. And I was just so I'm not smitten, but I get, yeah, I was smitten. I was so smitten, like talking to this guy, getting an understanding. So like, it doesn't matter if you're manufacturing, you had a bed and breakfast, your journalist background. It's understanding customer service and
Yes.
human behavior. And so whether you're running a CNC machine, you're manufacturing circuit boards, plastic injection molding, whatever it is, that's almost secondary. It's just like that commitment to your customer and just getting that message out there, repetitive. And and let's talk about your signups, suit up and show up. With COVID, we couldn't physically do these things, but you could absolutely do these things online. And hey, we've got Hallie back.
It has been life changing. During COVID for me, it has made such a difference. If you can do that. Welcome back, Holly. Yes. You know what? Hey, you know what I love about live is that it's always exciting. And Curt knows if anything goes like that, I always have something to say, right, Curt?
Oh my, are you kidding me?
We're not going to run out of things to talk about.
There was no ounce of like concern other than we want to maximize our time with Hallie.
Yes, we want to hear from.
So Hallie, how we left off was I asked, could you dig into like the commitment for Brian and Kelly of, it's very easy for a manufacturer where in the past, like they didn't have to have marketing. They went to a trade show, they jumped in a car, they did, knock on doors, kind of boots in the street kind of sales initiative. Marketing traditionally has not been always on front of mind for manufacturers, especially if you're not selling direct to consumers. Talk a little bit about their commitment to like seeing the value in marketing and like pulling you on board and just really making the commitment to like maximizing your superpowers.
Yeah, so I actually got hired in to be an administrative assistant. And once they kind of like realized that we could take marketing to another level, they have been totally awesome. Chris, our chief operating officer, helps me a lot with it. The thing I like about them is they continue to push me to grow in this area. Like the marketing, they want me to grow. They want me to keep doing it. And they will also invest in it as well, which is something that not many companies will do, which I love. So they're definitely like my number one supporters in this area of the company. So I love being able to work underneath them.
Okay, that's wonderful. So, all right, let's dig into now when you went to college and your background, so on and so forth. Did you know, like, were you as a little girl growing up and Brian was your hero? Was it on your mind, like, hey, I have a knack here. I have a God-given talent to really be a social media extraordinaire. When did like kind of this marketing buzz hit you?
I had no idea that this is what I was going to do. Like I tell people all the time, I'm like, I never saw myself here in this industry at all. Now that I'm never leaving. But I think I did a little bit. So I also have a side job, photography. So I did some marketing for that, so I kind of like was a little bit self-taught and then learned some stuff in college. But when I got here, it just kind of blew up. I was like, I love this. I don't want to stop doing it. I want to keep growing in it. And marketing, I just like being here.
Man, you're just completely hooked. All right. And we're going to talk about this a little later in the program about, we were talking before about, millennials in manufacturing, women in manufacturing. Just, I find both of you just so inspiring and found what the work that you guys are doing. But Hallie, so, not really coming from like a deep, rich marketing background, I admire and respect what you're doing. Even like, Gail, I had high expectations for this interview. Like she's already like just completely blowing them out because like, it's not like, oh, well, I grew up in marketing and, my background, so on and so forth. Like this has really been kind of like learning on the fly. Is that correct, Hallie?
Yeah, basically. I mean, like I went to school and I was in media and communications in college. So I learned a little bit of it. But a lot of it was more like making the graphics and stuff, like the graphic design portion of it. So I took one marketing class out of my 4 years. Nice. So yeah, a lot of it was self-taught.
Well, all right, we're going to dig into a masterclass, and I see like the chat box is on fire, Gail. I don't know if there's any comments that you want to like dig into.
Well, I love what I know. Whitney said one that I think is really important. Well, she said social media takes so much time. People don't even realize it. Don't just expect to have an intern to do it. That is so key. A lot of people think, oh, it's not. And I know that's one of the issues. It takes so much time to do the research. Holly, with photography, that's important too. And yeah, if you don't have leadership bias, it's really difficult. Yes, that is. And that's where there's a later question, which we can talk about too. We'll get to that. I think it was someone asked, what are some tips to get the buy-in?
Yeah, right
But
here.
Curt, maybe before, I mean, there's so many great comments are coming in here.
Yeah, and keep them coming. Definitely keep them coming. So let's go. So Hallie, you were as we were talking. I had the honor and privilege. You and I met a few weeks ago, and so we were talking before we went live. You have a 6-pronged approach to your social media strategy, and so everybody, I encourage you. Put away your phone unless you're going to take notes. Grab your pen or get your fingers ready on the keyboard because like this is going to be a master class with the social media extraordinaire here, Hallie Haupt. Hallie, go ahead. Let's dig into like your 6-pronged approach on like how you've really been attacking social media.
Marketing 101. No, I'm just kidding.
Marketing 101. You're right.
It is.
So just to dive into it, some key things that I always give to anyone who's looking to grow their social media presence or their marketing departments in their company is defining your target audience. Mm-hmm. This is huge. You want to know what audience you're speaking to on every social platform and be able to create content that resonates with them, if that makes sense. And I always say this, but the people that you're speaking to or your target audience on Twitter isn't going to be the same as your target audience on Instagram and vice versa and so on. So I think it's really important to use like those analytics that are available to you to pinpoint who your target audience is so that you can say, hey, I need to be talking to the machinists and create content that they're going to relate to. And here I'm going to be talking to the business owners. So I need to create something more professional that they're going to relate to. And it goes on all platforms across the board.
Okay. All right. So there, mic drop number 1 was know your customer inside and out. Man, you want to know what they had for breakfast today. You want to know that they have 2.5 kids. They have a picket fence out front, and you want to know everything about them. So Hallie, let's dig into that. So at IQ, as a manufacturer, Gal, through Damon and I, we call them those ideal customers, soulmates, man. Like you want to know that soulmate, like you're going on a date and just treating them with that respect and like, how can you make their life better? What value you bringing? So Hallie, talk about like how did you start resonating with your ideal customers with your social strategy through IQ?
So like I mentioned analytics a couple minutes ago, but I really use those analytics that social media provides to you to figure out who the demographic of people that I was talking to. And when I first started doing marketing, it's not like a snap your finger and it's going to be like blow up and people are going to be interacting with stuff and contacting your business and stuff like that. But it takes a little bit of patience to get that going and learning who that audience is. And it took me, honestly, a good 8 to 9 months to be able to actually learn who that was and what content was resonating with them. So I like to every week do like 4 of my posts will be company related. Yep. And a lot of people love seeing that stuff. And then like the other 2 posts that I'll do throughout the week are a little bit not too personal, but I'll go into like, oh, I have a dog. Or, hey, I did this weekend. And like people are like, oh, she's a person. She does things. She's not in the shop all the time. So I think people really resonate with the fact that, hey, we do things. We have family. We have spouses. We have kids, stuff like that. So I think that really helps like push that. And people like seeing that. Like some of the best posts I've gotten like interactions on are the ones with my dog.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big dog lover, so I know I'm always hitting like on your I don't know, he's snoring somewhere in the other room right now. So okay, so know that ideal customer, and that's just going to make your life so much easier. So Gal, when I do training with Wesleyan Greer, my dear friend, she always loves to preach, when you try to be everything to everybody, what are you? Nothing to no one, right? You're nothing to no one. And here's where I want to differentiate the confusion, because sometimes I'll get pushback on that, and I totally respect that. But we're talking about marketing, not that you can't service a wide range of customers, but it's from a marketing standpoint. If you try to be everything to everybody, you end up becoming nothing to no one. Hallie, this is more for myself, a little bit of curiosity. What were some posts or maybe some things that you thought might do well that really didn't resonate? And then how did you kind of strike the chord with the ones that did start doing well?
So there was this, I also follow the trends sometimes to see what my audience likes to see and doesn't like to see. So there was a trend a while back where they were using all of the LinkedIn like reactions, and people post them. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but they would be like, react to this with what you agree with. And the audience we had was not reacting to that much. So I was like, okay, I did like 3 or 4 of them. And I was like, all right, people don't really like seeing this. So maybe I'll just take it out, try something different.
Yeah. Okay.
I find that too sometimes with polls. I've heard some feedback. Some people manufacture and they don't like the polls. So it's and I think it depends on the poll. And sometimes but you know what's really interesting, Curt, what Hallie's talked about is that kind of trial and error, not being afraid to try that and dip your toe in. And like most people, you know, not everything's gonna be perfect. You're gonna drop a ball. And I think that's what I'm hearing with Hallie is that she's willing to take some of those chances and try some things. And, you know, I always say, what's the worst that's gonna happen if you post something and I've done it. I've posted things and go, oh, that didn't go over very well.
Yeah, right.
But then I find out, then there's another thing I post and it's like, wow, like I do a video that's just off the cuff and that performed really well. So, right.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So know your customer. And then you, number 2, I believe we were talking about like content strategy. So, you know, again, there's a lot of different manufacturers out there, you know, plastic injection molding, could be circuit board manufacturer, wherever they're at, you know, are they targeting engineers? Are they targeting somebody in purchasing? Are they targeting are they going direct to the end user? So Hallie, from your perspective, now that you had a deep dive understanding like, okay, now I know who my audience is, how did you attack that content strategy? Like what were, like you broke out your week a little bit, but like, what are some certain things that I want to know about IQ, or what were some things like education pieces, or like, let's go deep there and like some of the different posts that you felt actually did real well.
Yeah. So lately we've been doing a lot of videos here at IQ. So we've been doing like interview type things with our apprentices, and the apprentices interviews really help because a lot of people don't know that we have an apprenticeship. So getting that content out there as part of a strategy to not only push the apprenticeship that we have, but also let people know, hey, we have a formal apprenticeship and these apprentices are here working and this is what they think about it and this is how much they like it and this is where they see themselves going. So stuff like that and having that strategy and knowing what your customers or your audience likes to see really helps. And also the frequency of your posting can help you a lot too. Like I've been posting every single day since I started here and exhausting, but I've been doing it and people come back and they want to know like how you're doing. Like if you post something one day, they want to know how you're doing this day. Or we have posted like a video of something we've done in our shop and somebody will come back to see what the end result of that is. So like that strategy and how you're posting it and how you're dividing up that content can really help you in a lot of ways.
Okay, that's minimum mic drop number 2 there, Gail. So there's so much to unpack in what she just said. I have like 5 things, and I know I'm going to forget 4 of them. But no, she just mentioned consistency.
Yes,
that is so important. Number 1. Number 2, you mentioned, hey, we have an apprenticeship, and so this is what I want to talk about, Hallie. Is not only when we talk about that ideal customer, that soulmate, as Damon and I always like to refer to them. Your soulmate's not just a customer,
right?
It's teammates. Mm-hmm. Right? It's recruit. And so many manufacturers that, you know, that Gail, that we've encountered were like, oh man, I couldn't do social media. I couldn't take on another order if I had to. I'm like, oh, well, are you at capacity? Yeah, I need staff. Well, what do you think people are doing? They're going to go to your website. They're going to your social. Can I work for these people? Do I fit? Is this a good culture? So Hallie, let's talk about, I try not to do this, but I'm going to throw 2 things at once. Talk about that consistency factor, number 1, and number 2, how important it is from a recruiting side. Let's start with the consistency. How important has that been for you on that consistency side?
So I think that it's important for anyone, honestly, but for me personally, like I said previously, it took me 8 to 9 months to be able to create a brand where people were actually interacting with us. And I started out doing stuff on my page first. And then when I got built up and got that frequency of posting every day and had people coming back, I started to dive more into the company stuff. And that has kind of trickled over slowly but surely. But it's posting every day. People come back and see you. They know who you are. They know that, like I said, you have a dog. They know that you work for a company. They're constantly seeing your face and they're more apt to follow you because they're interested in what you're doing. So the consistency is it's insane. Like I could post 3 days a week if I wanted to, but why not post the full 5 days a week? Let people see what we're doing, you know?
Right. Man, I love that. Okay, so let's talk about for the manufacturer out there, or maybe they're like, well, you know what, I'm at capacity, I'm not really aggressively looking for customers right now. Share how important that is to have a good social, we call it web impression. How do you make a great first web impression? Doesn't matter if it's a customer, doesn't matter if it's a new teammate. Talk about like how important that is from your perspective and for your generation that's coming into the workforce.
I think it's really funny that you said that someone was like, I can't take another job. Like LinkedIn is like, we're only getting jobs from LinkedIn. The primary reason this site was created was to grab people and hire them.
Right.
And we've gotten plenty of people here working for us because they've seen our stuff on social media, or they've reached, hey, I want to work for you guys because of our social media. So, I mean, you can go on Indeed and you'll find our job listings and stuff, but a lot of people have come here because they see me or a COO on videos or on YouTube and stuff like that. So it's not just getting work, it's getting your staff. Your staff is on all these social sites just as much as your customers are.
Yeah.
And Curt, one thing to add to that too is that Google likes LinkedIn. So if you're Googling a company name, your LinkedIn content comes up, just like for individuals as well. So I think that's also just to add in there for any manufacturer out there listening that go, oh, I'm not ready to hire someone, or I can't do it every day, is that one of the things I encourage is just start somewhere and be consistent. But obviously IQ, with having you on board, Hallie, you're able to do that every day, which is, very commendable that you've stuck with it too, because a lot of people start out, on every day and then they just can't keep up. But so that's another, consistency is so key.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, so let's go here. And again, Gail, I love that background you got going, because I think this is so relevant, signing up, suiting up, and showing up, and on your online presence, right? So Hallie, let's go here. So, you're a millennial, you come in, you're like, man, I'm going to have a career at a community college, maybe like, have a great career at it's a great place to work, is in a university or a college setting. You end up at manufacturing. When you decided to go into social, how did you decide what platforms, and talk about your LinkedIn journey? Like a lot of times, I worked at a community college years ago, and like all the students were like, oh, Curt, LinkedIn is for old guys. Or like when I work with millennials, at manufacturers, they're like, oh, that's for a job, or that's for old guys like you, Curt. They call me Uncle Curt, Hallie, by the way. So, but how did you decide what platforms, and then talk about your personal LinkedIn journey on like how you've just gone all in?
Yeah, so I don't know specifically why LinkedIn we chose that one. I couldn't really tell you, but I know that I remember thinking a lot of people in the manufacturing industry are here on LinkedIn, which is crazy to me, but there's so many shop owners or machinists or programmers. They're all on this application. And my journey specifically, I started out with 300 followers or connections or whatever we're calling it. And now we're here with almost 16. So the journey has been wild. But there are a lot of people out there that support all of us, even us three here. They want to see our content. They want to see these LinkedIn lives or these podcasts, and they want to see us talk and give tips. And the growth for so many people in the industry doing like the same things we do is insane. Like there's so many of us here on this application, and the journey on LinkedIn is crazy.
Well, man, okay, absolutely love it. I know, like, I'm like not even paying attention to time. I think we're over the top of the hour. We're going to keep rolling, Hallie. But if you just joined us from a previous meeting, we are here with Hallie Haupt from IQ Manufacturing. This is a social media masterclass. If you missed anything, boy, I encourage you, I invite you, I implore you, hit the rewind button, or if you're out on a walking the dog or whatever you're doing later, you definitely want to catch the wisdom, brilliance that Hallie is sharing with us today. So Hallie, we have a 6-prong approach. We're talking about know your customer inside and out. Know that target, as you said. The content strategy, you shared a lot of visual is your number 3 step, if I have that correct. Let's go there. What have you found? Tips, advice? What's worked for you? Why do we need to be visual as manufacturers on our social strategy?
So I would say the visual feeling content you put out is going to drive more people to your pages. Okay. Of course you're gonna get those like iPhone or Android photos, but like the low quality images are the ones that people are just quickly scrolling past. If you have like a photo that was taken by someone at a trade show or something like that, people are more apt to be like, oh, what is this? Where was this at? Who took it? And stuff like that. And I'll create even like little fun graphics for our IQ company page on LinkedIn, and people like to stop and look at those. So it's like something that's gonna grab the attention of someone. Like we post dogs. I keep going back to the dogs.
Yeah.
I'm post them, and it's visually appealing content. Or when you post like photos of your parts, which we can't do because of our requirements for our certifications, but we've posted a few videos of like our vices in our machines. People like seeing that stuff. It's the stuff that's going to attract them to your page, and it's very important.
I love that. And Gail, you're a little bit on the introverted side, aren't you? Just a little,
Yeah.
a little quiet, right? Just so if you guys follow Gail, I have a little envy. I have to admit, I know that's like, we shouldn't carry envy, but Gail, you've been like all over the place past few months. And you and I have yet to meet in person. I'm like, that is just shameful. But, you are at trade shows. You've been at, I think you were part of a great mastermind recently, but I know you do a lot of posting and you are with your clients. What's your experience been as far as like those visuals as Hallie's describing?
Visual, it is really important. And I always say it's a balance, right? You can't only have visually appealing without the content behind it. And that's one thing we're hearing from Hallie, is that balance, right? Now, I had this behind me, the pop-up board was done. I had a designer. I pay a designer to do this. I sometimes I do Canva once in a while, very little bit, or I'll get someone else to help with Canva, because Canva is also the worst. I remember I'm Curt, I remember this. Remember when clip art first came out and everybody started using clip art for everything, right? So I think, it's that balance. And what I'm really liking hearing from Hallie is that, it's not only one thing. She has a good mix. And I want to say this as a young person getting into marketing, Hallie, you are on your way. I know that because I come from a journalism background, right? So a lot about content and written word, but it's evolving, and it's really important that you keep up with the times. And at the same time, you still need good content, because it doesn't matter how visually appealing or whether you're using video, print, if you don't have that content. And so I like these steps: the target audience, the content strategy, visually appealing. And next, our other favorite topic, Curt, which is how we met, the C word of
collaboration.
That's one of my favorite words. So, and I love how this all sort of just goes from one into the next, because once you have that foundation. So over to you, Hallie, to talk about collaboration.
So collaborating with other content creators and brands in this industry has also helped us a lot here at IQ. And not only is it helping us, it's also helping the people that we're partnering with, which it's a win-win for everyone in the situation. So I've connected with, like, Eddie Saunders was here a week ago, or Tony Gunn was out here last year. And I'm talking to Jacob Sanchez, if you guys know him.
Yeah.
He's awesome. And we've had partnerships with a bunch of companies. Like, we have one with AeroX Technologies. We've got one of their mist collectors on our machines out there. So we did some content for them that helps to drive traffic to our sites and our socials and theirs as well. And we have one currently with Adaptix by Norgren. It's our vice from the company that Eddie's working at. And we do content stuff for them. It's a win-win for everyone. Like I said, everybody's getting something from it. You're gaining new audience from this company, and they're gaining it from us as well. So that can help everybody grow, not just one company.
Absolutely love this. And so I want to take it one step further. Okay. So let's say there's a manufacturer out there like, man, this sounds awesome. I'm new to this. How do I start? So go back to where you were 2 years ago or a year ago, when this collaboration, like, hey, I think I've kind of like found the golden key here of some, networking opportunity. Gail, you're the master of this. So Hallie, give some advice, some suggestions to folks. Like, how do you start that collaboration process?
So definitely reaching out to them first and foremost. Like, no one in this industry has ever been mean to me. So it's like, reaching out, you're fine. Just reach out. But I've connected with so many of these people from going to trade shows. So getting out there and meeting people and going to see your customers or meeting these other content creators, it's it's insane and it's so beneficial. And there's shops out there that are like, why would I go to this? It's a waste of time. It's really not. It's a networking opportunity. You're gaining relationships. You're meeting new customers. It's amazing. And that's where I've gotten a lot of these like people to come in here, or we've had people partnering with us, is because we've met them at trade shows and we know who they are, and then they want to come out here and see us. So definitely getting out there in the field and seeing this stuff and attending these shows is going to be beneficial.
And I just want to add into that, Curt, because this is so key when people are saying trade shows don't work, networking events don't work. This is where marketing is. That's the magic, sauce. The magic ingredient is if you're not doing the legwork before, during, and after a trade show, an event, a campaign. And I've seen this happen where people say, oh, we spent all this money, we didn't get anything. We didn't, but they show up at the trade show sometimes, they spend all this money and they only focus on who's walking by their booth for those 1, 2, 3 days. And if you do that, there is money that's just flying out the window that you're missing, because it's really key. And I think this is something that, Hallie, that you're doing with your company, and you get that. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to make that point for anybody listening that's like, oh, wait a minute, she said trade shows work, but
they do. I was at IMTS last September, first time going, by the way. It was amazing. I spent one entire day just going and meeting up with other people in the industry. Yep. So you're meeting people. It works, guys. It works.
Yeah, we have. And Whitney gave you a preach, Curt, too. I think it was about marketing and recruiting and retention. And I'm actually going to be giving a talk at the end of the month on how social media can help with sales, recruiting, and retention, because people don't realize, especially manufacturing. So, Curt, I'm going to take a clip from this show and use that as part of the promo, because that is a missed opportunity that it really is so important, because people are searching you, people are looking, and people want to see, activities. What are you doing? What's your story? So, yeah.
Okay.
Preach.
Gail, as a repeat offender on the program, so Hallie, not only do we have mic drop moments, we have moments of silence. And so right now we're going to take a little moment of silence just to kind of like savor. Oh my God, you guys you just dropped so much value right there. Let's recap that for 1 second, guys. Listen to what Hallie just said. Like, she's getting out there. And if you don't know some of the names that, maybe you're like, hey, who's Eddie Saunders and Jacob Sanchez? These are just great, high integrity, passionate folks that are just so crazy passionate about manufacturing. And these guys are just all-stars. And so, Hallie, you're pulling again through collaboration is what we're talking about here. Collaboration. You're bridging the digital strategy with the in-person. Like, I'm getting chills just, okay. Drop the mic, number 4. We just want to savor that. So, okay, we're on number 4. We're going to move on to analytics. Yes. We're going to move on to analytics. So know your customer, the content strategy. We talked about having a visual appealing, collaborating. Man, that could have been a program in itself. Mm-hmm. Hallie, let's talk about analytics, please.
So analytics, I was not against it, but I didn't think that it was valuable at all for the longest time. And now I look at it, and that's something I track like weekly, monthly, yearly. Like, if you're not using the analytics that these social sites are providing to you, you're also missing out in that area as well. Like LinkedIn, if you look at your analytics on like a personal page, it'll tell you who's viewing your page, what companies are viewing your content more, what the seniority is. Like, that's a way to help you find out who your audience is as well. And then Instagram, for instance, will tell you at what point in the day your followers are more active, and that's when you're going to get more viewership. So it's like, if you're not using these analytics, it's insane. And even like for our website, Google Analytics will tell you what social media sites the people are coming to your site from. So it's like, it's insane. It gives you a whole like list of everything on how you should be, and it gives you insight on how you should be marketing to other people.
Well, Hallie,
go ahead. Yeah.
So I was just going to say, I come out of, my background is in media. I was a reporter, and, it's interesting. As a journalist, we had to learn, typing and shorthand, but no stats or analytics. Right. And it's only been so Holly, good for you for grasping that, because it's so important. The data will tell you so much. And yeah, Google Analytics. The other thing, I had a client that I was able to tell them too, so along with social media, where they're coming from, also referrals. So there was, because they belong to an association, there was a lot of links from that page. So that's another thing you need to check, because maybe belonging to that membership, you're getting traffic from them posting your company on a directory. So, so that's also of high value to look at, where, like, if you've been at an event and you're a speaker or you gave out information, that's another way that Google Analytics is magic. Oh, I love Google. And I never thought I'd ever say that. I love Google Analytics. It's like, oh.
I never said that, but it's a good thing you brought that, because I just joined, I'm a chair of a committee. And they linked my site to under my name, so I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yes.
Learn every day.
So let's go here, Hallie. So what I heard was, I don't know if I'll use the right word, was resistance, but you just didn't quite see the value of analytics. What flipped the script? What changed your mind where, like, now you're just a raving fan?
So I don't think I really had the proper knowledge about it, honestly. Like, I just didn't know what it was or what it was telling me. And then our CEO has a marketing background as well. So he was like just giving me some insight one day on it. And he's like, yeah, you should look it up. So I did. And I haven't stopped looking at it. Like I said, weekly, monthly, I look at it all the time.
Okay. So
Curiosity. Woo!
There's like two mic drops right there, because number one, your wisdom and maturity is like, they're so off the charts of like how you're an eager learner and just like embracing this, taking this on. Like you said, like, man, I didn't see any value in it, but now, like you came into it with an open mind, and now you're just a raving fan and you're delivering results. So okay, great. This was the title of the program, guys. Social media strategies for manufacturers that delivers powerful results. Okay, so that was step number 5. Can you take us home on number 6, engagement? You're doing an amazing job. You're a dog. Things are going on in the shop, pictures, visual, trade shows, everything, all these just golden nuggets of strategies that you just shared with all of us. Talk about how your superpowers of engagement and how you've been able to create just such a great following in such a short period of time.
So a main reason I really do think that the engagement is so effective on our social pages is because we interact with the people, our audience, our followers. I think it's super important for them to know that I'm also a person, and I'm not just in business. I take the time out of my day to respond to these people, and that's why they come back, is because they're like, oh, she talked to me. It's not just like they leave a comment on my post and I ignore it. Like, I truly do try and go through and answer every single person on a post, because I don't want to leave them left open to, like, if it's a question, I want to answer it. If it's like, hey, how was your day? My day's great. How was yours? Like, it's creating more relationships and more friendships. And I can't tell you how far that's gotten me. Like, there's a girl named Shannon Nelson. She's in this industry as well. She works for Fire Trace. And she is like, we text each other often because we interact with each other. So it's just, you're going to find so much use out of engaging with those people as well. And they love it too. They're like, oh, she answered my question. Like, she's not just on here posting for business. She's on here interacting with us as well.
Gail.
So I mean, I got it, Curt. I have to say, as someone who has, we each have had a little bit more life experience, but I am when I hear, and I've been watching Holly. That's why when I put the post together, it was easy to find cool photos of her, see what she's doing. Obviously, she is a curious person who is eager to learn. And let's go to that comment from Whitney, because she says, maybe I'm wrong, but I think most people are eager learners. They just may need people who are interested in their success and who encourage them to really go after it. And I will say, from what you're saying, Holly, as well as what I've seen, I've been really blessed too with having great bosses and over all the years. And it is important that a lot of times people get shut down because they ask too many questions. That would be me. And you really, it sometimes takes that encouragement of others to encourage you. And I love that your boss did say, hey, why don't you go do this? And that's another one. Whitney's dropping some real gems today too.
Yeah. And I want to hit this question here from Kelly. Kelly, thank you for joining us. How do you get people to respond to your posts with comments? What do you think about that?
So at first it was CTAs, so like call to action. So I would say, like, is anyone doing anything cool this weekend? Something like that. And people would be like, oh, I'm going on a walk or something like that. And when I would respond to them, they would come back to the next post. So it just kind of filtered from there. And then as you make connections, people are more willing to comment on your posts and stuff like that. So it's just being consistent with the connections on like LinkedIn, for instance. You're going to get people who want to come back and want to know how you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. This.
Hallie,
it's only Monday. How about this for a Monday motivation? So, all right, we're going to recap and then we'll start winding down here. Okay. Again, guys, connect with Gail, connect with Hallie here. This is just such a dynamic, wonderful conversation. Just tons of golden nuggets. If you came in late, invite you, welcome. Number one, connect with both of these two. They are amazing. They are incredible. You want to follow them. And number one, number two, go back and replay this because there was just a lot of just great strategy. And again, like this is, you don't have like, 50, like Gail, you said, we're a little bit more seasoned than our friend here today. It's not like you're bringing 20 years. Well, I've been doing this for 20 years, guys. I know what I'm doing. Like you're just, this is so inspiring what you've done. And I think we could sum up this entire past 50-minute conversation with this. You said it's about relationships. It's just building relationships. That's all it is. It's just building relationships. It's like 2 words. Just so fantastic. Okay, so you have your 6-prong approach. Let's go here moving forward. We're just starting out second quarter of 2023. Whenever you're catching this on replay, what strategies, goals coming into for the moving forward for 2023, Hallie? What are some other strategies that you have that you're excited about that you're going to be implementing at IQ Manufacturing?
So we've already started it a little bit, but video is definitely up and coming. It's always been a thing, but people are really liking the videos, the informational videos and stuff like that. We have a lot of things in the works for our YouTube channel. We've already posted quite a bit, but we have a lot of things coming. A lot of ideas are stirring in my head. So video is definitely something we're jumping into this year and something we want to make a change on because we didn't do it much last year.
Let's take it one step further. So video, you just are busting out your phone. Are you again, for a manufacturer out there that's brand new, they're a little bit behind from where you're at. How are you implementing this? How are you going to institute this strategy?
So we have cameras here in the shop. So when we do our interview-based videos, we're literally in the room right next to me and we're taking videos on those cameras. And when we want to go into the shop, we've got a GoPro. So it's pretty easy to do that. We just take the videos and then I have a little bit of an editing software background. So I just edit those on my computer and we're good to go. We post them.
Awesome. Okay. So all right, if we start winding down, first off, I want to thank Hallie, our guest, for joining us. And a couple more. So Whitney, thank you, man. I agree. These guys are just absolutely amazing. She said, hey, you hit it on the head. It's all about building relationships. And then one last question. Do you have a videographer and editor? Are we looking at her?
We're looking at her.
We're looking at her. So guys, and so again, for the manufacturer out there, I don't know if you guys agree, there's nothing wrong. Just bust out your phone. It's like done is better than perfect, Damon and I are 2 old dudes. I'm in my basement. We've been doing this for a long time. It's like stop being the best kept secret and just get that content out there. And it's about delivering that trust. And another part of it, though my mom thinks I'm for everybody, sometimes we're not. And by putting that content out there, sometimes that's a good fit too, where like you don't waste time on a bad lead or a bad relationship by just putting yourself out there. So, you really have nothing to lose to go this direction. Gail, what was so many golden nuggets, so many mic drops. Any your takeaway? What do you?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that element of taking a chance, trying different things, and finding success when you do that, when you get outside your comfort zone. And clearly someone and I hope I think I've been pronouncing your name wrong because I've been saying Holly, but it's actually, is it Hallie?
It's Haley.
Haley. Oh,
felt
weird.
wrong.
I am. So I apologize because names are so important. When I was in journalism school, if you mispronounce the name or spelt the name wrong, you would get an F. So it's like Haley. Sorry. I think I called you Holly.
we all have goofy accents, so Gail, no harm, no foul whatsoever. And they're like, and just for the record, these two are they're like neighbors. They're just
Yes.
right over the river. And so, all right, we're good. So, you know, how about this for a challenge? The three of us, we're going to have to meet up sometime and have a little manufacturing powwow. And so let's go here, Hallie. Just first off, thank you for everybody that's been here today. Thank you for sticking with us. And boy, if you've been sitting down for the past, we've been going at it for like 50 some minutes. Perfect time to stand up and stretch. And how about giving a huge round of applause for Hallie and my co-host Gail now. So guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing just so much incredible value. How about this? James, dude, thank you for joining us.
James.
Diane, thank you for joining us. Brendan, thank you for joining us. Guys, I can't tell you how much we appreciate everybody here.
Wow.
Thank you, Monica.
Hello.
We never take this for granted. And this is why we do this. We're so passionate about manufacturing. Hey, this is going to be my last question, maybe. My last question for you today. Women in manufacturing, millennials in manufacturing, can you please share with everybody out there, why are all the cool kids going into manufacturing? Could you please help answer that for me, please?
It's cool. That's why. No, no, this industry there's so much opportunity here. And coming from someone who didn't know what it was like 3 years ago, coming into it now, I don't know why more people aren't here. And for women especially, you don't have to be a machinist. You can be in an HR role, or you can be in a marketing role, or you can be a machinist. We have a girl machinist out there right now. You can be anything you want in this industry. And if you work for the right people, they're going to push you to keep moving up. You're not going to stay in one area. It's in this industry is ever changing. You're going to learn new things constantly. Technology is going to keep evolving. It's just, this is the place to be. I don't know why everyone's not here.
There we go.
Take
all that in. And Curt, that just,
oh my God. I'm like, all right, Hallie, please tell Brian how proud he must be, and just tell, and you know what, if I could be half the dad that Brian is, and if everybody knows me, knows like number one priority in my life is I'm a girl dad. What a great job he's done, because your maturity, your brilliance, your wisdom, your passion, your integrity, your authenticity, your humbleness is just so addicting and just so contagious. So thank you for taking the time today. So guys, I encourage you, welcome you. If you miss any of this, go back, replay it, connect with Hallie, follow her posts. If you like, hey, I need to step up my social media game, right here, guys. It's right here. The hat girl. Hey, I brought a hat too. So, all right.
there we go.
There
we go.
There we go. So, hey, how did you become the hat girl, by the way?
Oh, people just started bringing me hats, and one day there was a customer, he was a machinery sales guy, and he was like, "So you're the hat girl," and we just kind of ran with it. So yeah, people kept bringing hats, and one guy said I was the hat girl, and I just kind of took off with it. Awesome. And this is shout out to Herco. No.
Awesome. Okay, guys. We're going to wind down. And so Manufacturing Monday motivation is, boy, if this wasn't motivating, man, I don't know what is. So Hallie, I want to thank you. God bless you. God bless everybody out there. Thank you for joining us. Keep making manufacturing great out there. And just like Hallie did today, man, just be someone's inspiration. You know, like what a great conversation this was. And just, go out there and spread that enthusiasm and just let the world know that, hey, manufacturing is a cool place to be. Gail, thank you, my friend. I appreciate you so much. What an honor and privilege. Hallie, hang out with us for 1 minute. We're going to click off on the program. So guys, we're back on Friday. Gail, Friday, I have a gentleman. He had a brain tumor, conquered the brain tumor, and he decided the day he was diagnosed, he was in Chicago. He has a PhD from Michigan State, right down the road from Hallie. PhD from Michigan State. He's a CEO coach for high-level, C-level executives. Had a brain tumor, conquered the brain tumor. He's an ultra marathon runner. He run like triathlons, marathons, you name it. This guy is, we've become dear friends. We've met in person. And so he's speaking with us on Friday. So guys, come back and join us on Friday, but have a great, incredible week. And thank you very much. We're ending right now, Gail. There we go.